Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone and Chancellor of the University of Sierra Leone. His Excellency retired Brigadier Dr. Julius Malabio, the Fountain of Honor, Unity, Freedom and Justice, and Commander-in-Chief of the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces. National anthem, please. Please be seated. Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, the Minister of Higher Education, Deputy Minister, Madam Ambassador, Minister of Education from Liberia, and the university family from the University of Liberia and University of Sierra Leone. We're here this afternoon for a historic occasion for the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding between the University of Liberia, which is a public higher learning institution, and the University of Sierra Leone. On that note, we'd like to invite the presence of God with a minute of reflection. Amen. Amen. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, it's now my pleasure to invite for opening remarks Professor Dr. Fodesa from the University of Sierra Leone.
Your Excellency, the President, Brigadier Retired Dr. Julius Malabio, the Minister of Technical Higher Education, other ministers of government, Her Excellency, the Liberian Ambassador to the Republic of Sierra Leone, the President of the University of Liberia and entourage, Deputy Vice Chancellors of Private College, IPAM, Commerce, and other University of Sierra Leone staff, other government officials, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am happy and feel honored to share the opportunity this afternoon with His Excellency the President, Brigadier Retired Dr. Julius Malabio, to officially welcome the President of the University of Liberia and his delegation on the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding between the University of Sierra Leone and the University of Liberia. The signing of memoranda would normally have been the business of administrative heads of the two universities. But the fact that the signing of this memorandum is being presided over by His Excellency the President is not only another manifestation of the time and energy the President attaches to education at all levels in Sierra Leone, but also the relevance, recognition, and respect the President attaches to the long-standing bilateral relationship between Sierra Leone and Liberia, not only in the field of education, but in many other areas of mutual concern and interest. The signing of memoranda is usually the first step towards establishing linkages and partnerships with other institutions. The need for partnerships, especially between and amongst educational institutions, cannot be overemphasized because experience has shown that no matter how powerful and well-resourced institutions are, they cannot successfully achieve all their goals without a collaborative approach. Your Excellency, sir, I want to crave your indulgence to briefly highlight some of the areas in which we intend to collaborate with the University of Liberia, and to state that these areas have been the subject of robust reforms within the University of Sierra Leone under my administration, all of which are geared towards quality of education and supporting human capital development. Areas include, amongst others, quality management, program development and curricular review, research and publication, harmonization of assessment and examination procedures, staff capacity building and development, and sourcing alternative funding to assist government financing the university. As a corollary to the above, we recently organized a university retreat which brought together senior administrative and academic staff of the university in re-engineering of the University of Sierra Leone. The retreat, which was witnessed by the Honorable Minister of Technical Education and representatives of the Tertiary Education Commission, culminated in the following decisions which are currently being implemented in the University of Sierra Leone: harmonization of admissions and assessment processes, including promotion criteria for students in all our 3 campuses, centralization and coordination of extramural courses by setting up University of Sierra Leone Institute of Extramural Studies, which we call Community College, with branches in all the provincial headquarters, commencing 2021-2022 academic year. The splitting and merging and creation of new faculties and departments, as the case may be, to address the inadequacies that were discovered in the management of faculties and departments in terms of student numbers and staff capacity, and to ensure effective management of programs, staff, and better workload balance in and heads of departments. The Faculty of Clinical Sciences at the College of Medicine and Other Health Sciences has been renamed Faculty of Clinical Sciences and Dentistry, because a dentistry component has now been added to the College of Medicine, which will soon commence training of dentists who have been in short supply in the country. The new Faculty of Public Health and Infectious Diseases has been established to help train public health experts for the proposed public health in the Ministry of Health and Sanitation. The Faculty of Nursing has been renamed Faculty of Nursing and Midwifery, as the faculty, in addition to training nurses, has started training midwives directly from school. The Faculty of Law, Private College, has been established, which will start training paralegal students in addition to the training of courtroom lawyers. And the Faculty of Communication, Information, and Media Studies has been established at Private College with a view to widen of programs offered. At the Institute of Public Administration and Management, a new Faculty of Leadership and Governance has been established, and a Faculty of Accounting in the entire University of Sierra Leone now sits at IPA. The building and development of an e-learning delivery infrastructure, e-learning resources, and training of lecturers in e-learning delivery, with the aim of launching online master's courses and expanding on USL's distance learning platform, has commenced. A team of experts is now working on the mode of delivery and the requisite infrastructure that will support the platform. Significant progress has been made in the customization of the new learning management system provided by the Ministry of Technical Education, so that all staff and student data will be captured on this platform, including processes examination. Staff capacity development, which includes a roadmap for faculty members to attain terminal degrees, has also commenced, and all lecturers will receive formal pedagogy training, irrespective of their discipline and levels. Over the years, University of Sierra Leone has signed MoUs and successfully established linkages and partnerships with several institutions in the sub-region and beyond, including the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Ghana, the Kumasi Polytechnic in Ghana, Amadu Dieng University in Conakry, Obafemi Awolowo University in Nigeria, London Metropolitan University, Ghana Normal University in the People's Republic of China, Washington University in Liberia, African University in Liberia and the University of the Gambia. This is the first time that the president, who is the chancellor of the University of Sierra Leone, is presiding over the signing of an MoU between our institution and another institution. This definitely underscores the importance our Excellency places on this particular partnership. On behalf of the University of Sierra Leone, I would like to assure Your Excellency, sir, and the President of the University of Liberia that we are mindful of the mutual obligations to institutions and countries as spelled out in the MoU. And we promise to abide by its provisions and successfully implement all the elements that we will mutually agree upon. As we do so, we remain hopeful and that it will yield the anticipated and outcomes as we look forward to that. I would like to express profound gratitude to Professor Julius Nelson Jr. and his team for the time, energy, and resources they have utilized to make this happen, and I wish them a safe journey back home. I thank you all.
Thank you very much, the Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of Sierra Leone. Your Excellency, on that note, it's now my pleasure also to invite Professor Dr. Julius Nelson Jr., President of the University of Liberia, for opening remarks.
His Excellency Dr. Julius Manabio, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone and Chancellor of the University of Sierra Leone, Her Excellency Ambassador Mozu Rule, Ambassador of the Republic of Liberia to the Republic of Sierra Leone, Alpha Wari, Minister of Technical and Higher Education, Republic of Sierra Leone, Professor Dao Anso Soni, the Minister of Education, Republic of Liberia, Professor Dr. Fode Sarr, Vice Chancellor and Principal, the University of Sierra Leone, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Administrators, Deans, and other leaders of the University of Sierra Leone, Dr. Miriam Victoria Nelson, my spouse and partner in ministry, Vice President, Dean, Academic Directors, Administrators, leaders of the faculty, staff, and student associations of the University of Liberia, other officials of government present, members of the Fourth Estate, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I bring you greetings and well wishes from the visitor of the University of Liberia and President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Dr. George Manuwea, the Board of Trustees, the University of Liberia family, and from your peace-loving people from the Republic of Liberia. I speak for most of the members of my delegation when I say that this is certainly not the first trip to Sierra Leone, but the level of hospitality always makes me feel that we are here for the first time. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for the gesture and loving hearts of the people of Sierra Leone. We appreciate your hospitality more because love for strangers is a trait common to the peoples of both Liberia and Sierra Leone. This and our many commonalities are not the consequence of mere coincidence, but of the long shared history between our two countries. Liberia and Sierra Leone have come a long way through the dark pages of history. We have threaded parallel paths of the near identical timeline. In the area of health, both countries experienced the Ebola virus that claimed the lives of many of our citizens. In the area of security, our both countries experienced a long period of civil crisis, resulting in the deployment of ECOWAS and UN peacekeeping forces. No surprise then, governance, social, economic, and political progress in our countries have been marred by symmetrical constraints and challenges. Today, we are summarily bounded by development practitioners, theorists, commentators, and historians as two of the poorest and least developed countries of the world, despite our deeply rooted cultural, political, and socio-economic and historical linkages, as well as our macroeconomic similarities. We haven't had the depth of collaboration that these commonalities and traits bond us together. Since the 1990s, our people have learned hard lessons about international cooperation, regionalization, integration, and sub-sub collaboration that have transformed these two countries in ways that cannot be directly compared to trends in other sub-Saharan African countries. We experience changes in the priorities of our development partners, various episodes of political upheavals that were eventually resolved by international efforts coordinated by our regional body, ECOWAS, where Liberia and Sierra Leone alone, with our friends in the Guinea-Makona River Basin, also during the period, experienced a health crisis unlike any other the world has ever seen. These recent experiences have drilled us into the importance of cooperation and collaboration at the international, regional, sub-regional, and local levels. On a commendable note, ongoing regionalization efforts propelled by the economic community of West African states are gradually impacting social variables and improving the living conditions of the peoples of West Africa. These regional integration efforts, however, are more sure towards market integration, security, and physical infrastructure. These initiatives are laudable, but they cannot resolve most of the pressing socio-economic issues that continue to two countries: high rate of youth unemployment, unemployability, macroeconomic vulnerability due to reliance on commodities in our two countries. For instance, the newly paved cross-border roads will do as much as improving access to markets for our rural farmers, but without research in agriculture or data-driven investment in mechanized farming, we cannot achieve impossibility level of production or absolute food security. Without research, the tips cannot to current technological advancement to present new subsectors and improve productivity in existing ones. Our problems with unemployment and unemployability will linger from time to time. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, missing in these efforts is a genuine commitment to regional cooperation that is based on collaboration amongst higher education institutions. According to the United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network, of which the University of Liberia is a full member, collaboration amongst higher education institutions in the South is critical to achievement of global goals because these institutions are insulated from politics, capable of pulling resources from all stakeholders, and most importantly, these institutions are the hubs of knowledge and the pillars of human capacity development that is required for the execution of national development goals. Your Excellency, Vice Chancellor Fodesai, members of the University of Sierra Leone and University of Liberia family, through our nation's parallel histories, the University of Sierra Leone and the University of Liberia have been right in the mix, but each has maintained strong vertical colonial or pseudo-colonial linkages to northern universities as a consequence of the model on which these two historic African higher educational institutions were built. Established in 1827, the Fourabé College maintained links with Durham University in the United Kingdom for more than a century. This vertical relationship was instrumental in ending this city, Freetown, in reputation as the Athens of West Africa. Liberia College, established in 1862, now the University of Liberia since 1951, remains connected to various colleges, universities, and foundations in the United States of America and other parts of the world, forging partnership through Memorandum of Understanding with North-South cooperation. With the paradigm shift, we are now in a new era of sustainable development with a call for enhancing soft-soft, north-south, and triangular cooperation in areas such as capacity building, innovation, and technology to strengthen the means of implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals, including inclusive and equitable quality education and lifelong opportunities for all, the SDG goal number 4. Thankfully, our 2 universities have been tinkering with the concept outside of a formal framework. Liberian academics have played faculty roles in Sierra Leone, and Sierra Leone academics have also played faculty roles in Liberia. Aside from the Negro scholar, Dr. Edward Whitman Blyden, who left indelible prints on both Liberia and Fora Bay College, the only other name I can remember in recent time is that of Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Fode Sarr, who served as an adjunct professor at the A.M. Dougherty College of Medicine of the University of Liberia in the late 1990s. On a similar note, Your Excellency the Chancellor of the University of Sierra Leone, His Excellency Julius Madawani Bio, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, served as the Centennial Convocation Speaker of the University of Liberia in December 2019. This gathering, ladies and gentlemen, is just the consummation and formalization of a relationship that has been building in the chambers of history and the actualization of a framework that is long overdue. As we sign this Memorandum of Understanding to establish and formalize linkages between the University of Sierra Leone and the University of Liberia, let us not miss the fact that this seemingly ordinary occasion marks the dawn of a new chapter in our long historical, cultural, and diplomatic relationship between Liberia and Sierra Leone. We enter this Memorandum of Understanding confident of a huge mutual benefit to both universities and our countries. One of the 4 campuses of the University of Liberia is the David A. Strauss St.J. Technical located in St.J. Grand Cape Mount County in South Liberia, a few clicks from Bo Geneman at the border with Liberia and Sierra Leone. This campus, learning and life in that region, including deep into Sierra Leone's census organization. It is easier and gives more economic and financial benefits for our friends and colleagues from Sierra Leone students from the border to attend the David Strauss St.J. for higher education through this partnership we are about to sign. Having a faculty, student, and staff exchange program, visiting lectureship, joint research and publication, course collaboration, and cultural exchanges are just few steps in fully integrating and converging our 2 university systems and contributing to national development in the Republic of Liberia and the Republic of Sierra Leone. It is our hope that in the near future, students will do courses across our countries and count credits towards graduation within the context of UNESCO revised convention on the recognition of higher education both in Africa and globally. Already, the University of Liberia has adopted a blended learning as a primary mode of teaching and learning at the University of Liberia. Our bold attempt to digitally transform higher education sector of Liberia under the most difficult of consequences and circumstances has been greeted by a stream of cultural resistance and obvious technological glitches. Nevertheless, this transformed digital culture of teaching and learning has given us the option to tap on the resources of faculty abroad and allow students who are not in country to participate in our various programs at the University of Liberia. It is our hope, my friends, that through this MoU at the University of Liberia, from the experiences of some of the recent digital transformation, especially in higher education here in the Republic of Sierra Leone. This MoU is not just a manifestation of soft collaboration in higher education for development, but also an instrument that is linking two of Africa's most historic universities and widening the bond between two countries where peoples have so much commonalities in our region for many years. If nothing else, at least peace and security will be guaranteed by the opportunity for cultural and historical cross-learning for our youth and students under this MoU. Let me share with you that students from our countries who interacted during their years in university are now inseparable friends, colleagues, and partners. There are many young professionals who feel at home in both and Freetown because of the bonds that were forged in their college days through student exchange program and other informal platforms of interaction that have existed for many, many years. Given this improvement in the social, economic, and political environment in our nation has never been so right. Long live the University of Sierra Leone. Long live the University of Liberia. Long live the government, people of the Republic of Sierra Leone. Long live the government and people of the Republic of Liberia. Thank you very much, and God's blessing.
Thank you very much, Professor Nelson, for that energetic statement and presentation. Your Excellency, we have now come to one of the highlights of the occasion, which is the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the University of Sierra Leone and the University of Liberia. And on that note, I now invite Professor Dr. Julius Nelson Jr. to come forward and have a seat. And Brigadier General Professor Dr. Folisa from the University of Sierra Leone, Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of Sierra Leone, to come forward. They are going to be assisted and witnessed by Mrs. Olive Barry, the Registrar of the University of Sierra Leone. Please come forward, please. Associate Professor with the Koba Bole, Vice President for National Development of Planning. So each witness just accompany them. We will now commence the signing ceremony. We'll now have the exchange of the signed documents between Professor Dr. Julius Nelson Jr. and Professor Safole. Thank you very much for the signing. Thank you very much, witnesses. That is how we bring the signing ceremony to an end. Your Excellency, we will now invite for statements. We'll start from the Minister of Education of the Republic of Liberia, Professor Ansu Daosoni. A round of applause, please, for the Minister of Education.
Your Excellency, Dr. Julius Madabio, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Sierra Leone. My colleague, Minister of Technical and Higher Education, Dr. Wori, Ambassador of the Republic of Liberia to Sierra Leone, Madam Mosugre Rue, colleagues, academics, members of delegation, the Fufa State, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, I bring greetings from your friend and brother, Dr. George Manawia, President of Liberia, with whose permission I've come to share in the formation of a binding tie of academic and professional relationship between the University of Sierra Leone and the University of Liberia. The world acknowledges the acclaimed history of the two universities and the impact they've both made on the creation of relevant human capital necessary for national development anywhere. We are convinced that education is esteemed among all disciplines known to man. For all, else is unlikely without the deliberate roles that education plays. It has been on the backs of education between generations, from the days of primitivity to the 21st century of civilization. Education is the only indispensable unit of national functionaries all the world, upon which growth and development of nations are planned, and the foundation of nations' progress are irreversibly guaranteed. Your Excellency, colleagues in academia, ladies and gentlemen, the University of Liberia and the University of Sierra Leone have built for themselves such history that are indelible, transferring such indelible outcomes to the pools of human capital in their respective countries. Supply is significant excess, sometimes the best thereof, beyond our borders and beyond the borders of Africa as well. We have assembled here today at this State House in the presence of His Excellency to honor as witnesses and participants the confirmation of the continuing relationship between these two national institutions of higher learning, the UL and the USL, evidenced by a Memorandum of Understanding, which Your Excellency has so graciously given permission to be hosted by yourself in your presence. There's no better way for national leadership to give consent to an action as we now do in this State House at this time on September 7, 2021. We shall remember this recognition, sir, given to academia and your implicit approval of the ways forward for the things these institutions shall hereafter endeavor to embark upon collectively, collaboratively, as specifically covenanted by the instrument to which this gathering specifically relates. Your Excellency, it is established, and we've heard it many times, that those who run fast run alone, but those who run together run far, having the attitude of interdependence. For indeed, There is only one that is absolutely independent and sovereign, and that is God. All nations, big and small, rich and poor, advanced and advancing, need each other in so many ways. Such interdependence is even more pronounced in academia, where there are no monopolies on knowledge. I shall convey to your colleague and Excellency, Dr. George Manawia, that you have personally given such esteemed recognition to this event, and by so doing, you've raised the profile thereof among many similar occasions that have been held before now, thereby challenging us, the academic lieutenants, in action to raise our armor strong against illiteracy, deliberately focus on creating an educated economy for the purpose of defeating poverty sustainably. Time is not on our side, sir, and we must do this with urgency. Cognizant that the deliverables of the SDGs are just upon us in 2030. As you are aware, the SDGs are a precursor to Africa 2063. Africa we want, the Africa of equity and continents. It shall not happen except we today on stage of performance take the mantle of authority and ensure that the foundations are laid in such a way that cannot be reversible. Many of us may never be here 2063. We can see with the intentions that we now undertake that somehow, some way, well, willing, 2063 shall happen. I therefore, Minister of Education of the Republic of Liberia and Chairman of the Commission on Higher Education of that country, a member ex officio, the Board of Trustees of the University of Liberia, reconfirm that I'm a witness to this event, imposing upon myself, therefore, a share of responsibility on behalf of my government, the role of a referee who shall ensure that the parties to this covenant continue to commit themselves to the content thereof, so that the intents and purposes envisioned by them become deliverable in time. God willing. Your Excellency, Madam Ambassador, colleagues in academia, members of delegations, your respective teams have proven to us that you are looking beyond today, and we are pleased to be part of the history that you now make. Mr. President, I'm specifically grateful to be here to witness this occasion and all the pomps and pageantry that have underlined it since the last 2 days I entered and before now. And I'm very pleased, as I shall ride back to Monrovia beginning tomorrow, to convey to those that I shall come in contact with en route and at station what I've seen. It's a clear indication what it means to have cordial relationship between nations. May God therefore seal the binding ties between our two countries and our two institutions of higher learning. And all else shall follow. Thank you, sir. God bless you.
Thank you, Professor Soni, the Minister of Education of the Republic of Liberia. It's now a pleasure to invite your counterpart, our Minister of Technical and Higher Education, Dr. Alpha Ward. A round of applause, please.
Your Excellency, President of the
Retired Brigadier Julius Madabio, Minister of Education from Liberia, our ambassador, the ambassador from the People's Republic of Liberia, Professor Nelson. Today is a unique day, unique in many ways, that the miss of the University of Sierra Leone is now on the desk here at State House for the last time. Today is a special day in which we are in a major transformation of higher education in Sierra Leone, in which His Excellency the President has indicated that the first wrong should be to depoliticize academia. His Excellency the President has therefore instructed that indeed he would like to step down as Chancellor of the University of Sierra Leone or other universities in Sierra Leone as we take the new university bill to Parliament, which was signed on the 7th of July, which was promulgated through Parliament on the 7th of July, and has since gained presidential assent as well. What we are saying here is that Sierra Leone is in the verge of creating technical universities. The transformation of two polytechnics into technical universities and the creation of one from scratch within Kono, the district that has provided all the resources that this country has used for so many generations. We will now talk about 6 public universities in Sierra Leone. His Excellency the President has therefore highlighted that he would like to select the chancellors, people of high integrity, initially academics, but has the opportunity of even choosing religious leaders to be able to head universities in Sierra Leone. The journey has been long. In 1827, as the core college in West Africa. 1876, as an affiliate of Durham universities in the UK. 1987, they became an independent University of Sierra Leone. In 2005, we opened it to 2 public universities. And now, 2021, we opened it further to ensure we deal with second. What is critical about this day is that His Excellency indeed in December 2019 acted as the guest speaker in the centennial graduation ceremony in Liberia. At the margins of that meeting, His Excellency the President actually suggested that it would be good for there to be a collaborative tie between the University of Liberia and the University of Sierra Leone. He is aware that there have been several other MoUs between universities. He is aware that those may necessarily be just ceremonies. Today is special because he really wants for you to recognize that the histories of these countries have been almost unified in many ways, not of the best of reasons for us to be able to expose to the public health emergencies, starting from the endemic malaria to corona to Ebola, tells us we must be each other's keeper. And for us to do so, it is when we are able to channel higher education to the level that we require that we can get the exchanges that we need. In Sierra Leone, you've been informed by Professor Fodesa that there has been strategic functional management reviews, not only of the University of Sierra Leone, but the 2 other public universities as well. It is unique for you to know just 2 months back, we inaugurated the postgraduate colleges, medicine, pharmacy, and the important thing there is that Liberia inaugurated theirs 5 years back, or even earlier. Liberia has been training postgraduates in medicine, whereas Sierra Leone is just at the start of this. What better time for collaboration to occur than this period of time? Your Excellency, sir, I would also want to stand and say, as the college modifies itself to create a school of dentistry along with clinical science, so now for the first time get a school of public health, to open out nursing and midwifery, and for students to start off after secondary school to go into the school of midwifery, to take a step back whilst we have a law school and to talk about paralegal training in law. I just want you to know, sir, that the new University Act indeed have recognized the postgraduate schools. The new University Act indeed has also been considering how you can have centralized admission system for recognized women and put women in parallel to that. So let me end by saying indeed I am our witness to this and the collaboration between universities in this country, that between the University of Sierra Leone and that of Liberia, has to be the strongest. I thank you.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Minister of Technical and Higher Education. Your Excellency, sir, you can recall that both the Honorable Minister of Education from Liberia and the medicine have spoken about the hospitality that they've received so far. But the University of Sierra Leone also wants to increase that hospitality. So on that note, and I invite the Registrar of the University of Sierra Leone, Mrs. Olive Barry, for a presentation of gifts to the following people. Mrs. Olive Barry, come forward, please. And once I call your name, please come forward. We will start with Professor Dr. Julius J. Sawolo Nelson Jr., the President of the University of Liberia, for a presentation. Thank you very much. That will be followed by Dr. Maureen V. Nelson, the spouse of the President of the University of Liberia. A round of applause, please. I also now invite Dr. Banis Dan, Vice President, College of Health Sciences. A round of applause, please. That will be followed by Mr. Sekou Kone, Vice President, Student Affairs. I also now invite Dr. Darren D. Wilkins, Vice President, ICT. I also invite Councillor Vyama Blama, Vice President, Legal Affairs. I also now invite Professor Wade Boli, Vice President for Institutional Development. That will be followed by Dr. Lawrence Momo Shaman, Dean, AM College of Medicine. Someone is taking on behalf of. Dr. Josephus Gray, Dean, Liberia College. Someone is also taking on behalf of. And then Dr. Wade Mai Hamon, Director for Public Health. And finally, Miss Edna Johnny, President, University of Liberia, Faculty of Association. And there is also a special one for the Minister of Education, which I think is also going to be delivered by the registrar. The Honorable Minister of Education, there's a special presentation for you as well, a gift from the University of Sierra Leone. Your Excellency, the University of Liberia also wants to retaliate. They also want to retaliate, and I invite Professor Nelson Jr. for a short statement.
Your Excellency, please allow us to present small gifts in our tradition, even though we come to visit you, but we usually bring gifts. And I want the following members of our delegation to please come forward and present these gifts to His Excellency, our luminous and Chancellor of the University. Ambassador, you the mother for Liberia, please come and help us. I will give the first one to you. Dr. Bernice Dan, Dr. Edna Johnny, and Ms. Student Abigail Dover. Yeah. When the centennial graduation, we did not give you your under centennial act.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for presentation ceremony. Distinguished guests, I now graciously invite His Excellency the President and Chancellor of the University of Sierra Leone for his keynote statement. His Excellency the President.
Ministers of Government, distinguished visiting delegation members, academic staff, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. As has been said already by my Minister of Technical and Higher Education, on the margins of the centennial commemoration ceremony, commencement ceremony in Monrovia in 2019, I met with Professor Julius Sawol, Nelson Jr., and a cross-section of the university administration and staff, Dr. Bernice Dan and Professor Kuba Bole. It is indeed a real pleasure for me to have all of you here today for this occasion. Welcome to Freetown, Sierra Leone. Earlier on at that ceremony, I had argued that Liberia and Sierra Leone share a common, unbreakable, and continuous demographic, historical, cultural, and academic heritage. I also argued that our common aspiration was to have a region teeming with talents, educators, innovators, and entrepreneurs. I challenged all of us to create a knowledge-based economy in our region. And I'm happy that we are getting to the start of that task. On the same day, I engaged with faculty and staff of the university, and we agreed that a partnership between the University of Liberia and the University of Sierra Leone was long overdue. Today, I'm more than pleased that all of you have furthered the shared vision we agreed upon on that day. And this Memorandum of Understanding is today a reality. Congratulations to all of you. I'm gratified that in the MoU, you have incorporated some of the key areas discussed then: research, collaboration, joint publications, knowledge and technology exchanges, staff capacity development and exchanges, program and curriculum development. The rationale for the MoU has been well laid out in statement from the previous speakers. There is need for collaboration in higher education in order to develop homegrown development solutions for problems we experience in our countries. We will not have better solutions when they come from outside. They have to be homegrown. And we have the heads that it takes to do that. We just need to develop these heads. And that is the reason for human capital development. Whether it is in the field of innovative uses of technology for development, agriculture production, medicine, and more, we can do it. We must repurpose technical and higher education for increasing productivity, creating jobs, and for other national development outcomes, not just for issuing out certificates, which has been the case for the most part. But think also about how this partnership will enhance the standing and reputation of both institutions, enrich faculty and students, and improve the quality of higher education in both our countries. Both institutions were established in the 1800s. How old they are. Fubay College in 1827 and the University of Liberia in 1862. A partnership of the first and second universities in West Africa hold tremendous promise if we get it right. And I think we've gotten it right. So we have to continue to get it right. Remember also that as government, what you do in the universities and technical vocational institutions have implications for policies we craft and vice versa. In delivering human capital development, for instance, we will consider not just equal access to quality education and radical inclusion of all, but also access to healthcare, food security, water, and sanitation, and more. So for me, this MoU is a shared vision that is most commendable. And that is why I'm here to witness this occasion. Thank you to both leadership for your drive and engagement. I'm very much impressed with your tenacity. I almost thought at once that we may have forgotten about our conversation, but you brought it to reality today. Thank you for moving the needle on this. I'd like to encourage you to move from this MoU to more concrete elements of this shared vision, which is, what are the deliverables? What are the commitments? How will you organize yourselves to achieve those deliverables once we have established them? How will you engender trust and communicate effectively and honestly about the partnership? We should be candid when we meet next. There are going to be challenges, but we should be frank and honest about identifying those and dealing with them until we get it right. What are the milestones and how will you assess and measure your success? Your successes, our successes, and critically reflect on those challenges. Let's ponder those questions. I'm sure your sister institutions have a sense of framework of cooperation, of co-planning visits, assessing relative strengths and constraints and opportunities, timelines for deliverables, and more. But I just thought I should perhaps give a sense of what I am thinking, and that is why I've raised all of those. For us at the executive level, how should we support this shared vision? How do we propose we pull in national institutions and their strengths to support this shared vision? How do we foreground the significance of this partnership into our policies and our development plans and activities? A lot of questions to answer and a lot of pondering, but we have the heads and level of commitment. Sustainability also comes to mind as we deal with this. How do we plan to financially sustain this initiative? What are the linkages among your academic institutions, government, and private sector that can sustain this partnership? This partnership should also be situated within the wider context of international knowledge production and sharing. Our universities here in Sierra Leone have individual links with Harvard University, Yale, MIT, and international research and other foundations and institutions. I am sure that you would be interested in having both countries as labs for producing, testing, and scaling solutions while working closely with faculty in both countries within the framework of this shared vision. So, there is a lot to gain from this MoU that we have just signed today. I want to publicly commit my support to making this a sustainable win-win partnership. I want to publicly commit my support to making this a sustainable win-win partnership for both our nations, because it is good for our people and our future. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency the President, for that inspiring statement. So I guess the President is known here as the talk and do President, which basically means whatever he says, he delivers on it. So we're very happy that this ceremony began after a conversation that started. So this is one of also the many things that we used to say, is the President's talk and do. So I want a round of applause for His Excellency the President. His Excellency the President has also graciously consented for photo opportunity. But what we're going to do, we're going to have 3 sessions on the photo opportunity. We're going to have the first session, which will be His Excellency the President, the ministers, and then the President of the University of Liberia, and then the Vice Chancellor. That will be the first set. And then the second set would be with the President, His Excellency, and the visiting delegation. And then the third set will be with the President and then the University of Sierra Leone. On that note, I now invite us to rise for the national anthem to signal the end of the program. Thank you very much. Please sit again whilst I invite the State House Security for access to the door. May I also now invite the Minister of Higher Education and the Deputy Minister of Higher Education from Sierra Leone and the Vice Chancellor of the University of Sierra Leone and President of the University of Liberia and the Minister of Education of Liberia and Ambassador of Liberia to Sierra Leone for a first photo opportunity. Your Excellency the President, sir. So as the President departs, I also like for all the members of the delegation from the University of Liberia to please rise for us to make our way to the lawn. We may please return back to our seats for the departure of His Excellency the President. We kindly return back to our seats for the President's departure. Kindly return back to our seats for the President's departure. So please rise as we return to our seats. Please rise for the departure of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone. Please rise for the departure of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, retired Brigadier Julius Madabio, Chancellor of the University of Sierra Leone. Thank you very much. Enjoy your stay.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Just want to add to